Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. And in today's Travel Talk, it concerns Delta. Because the question that someone asked is, what is the boarding priority for airlines? Actually, what is the boarding priority for Delta? It's a little more detailed, but let's go figure it out. So, airlines have different boarding priorities based on which airline it is. So, when someone says boarding priority, well, what do they mean? This means how you get on board the airline, the order that you get to go and board the airline. They can't just say, hey, everybody, let's board, because there'll be chaos, right? Because everybody will rush to the gate. I already do this anyway, even though we have boarding priorities. So what the airline did, and this is something that's been around for a very, very long time, they are still trying to figure out what is the most efficient way to board an airplane. A long time ago, it was like, okay, well, let's board all the windows first. Because if we board all the windows, then people don't have to get up when the person who has a window seat showed up after everybody is seated. So then they thought, okay, we could board window, middle, and aisle. But then it's like, but then, if I have the aisle seat and then when I get on the plane, there won't be any more space for my bags. Then they thought, let's board from the rear forward because it makes it easier, right? And some airlines still actually board from the rear forward, which when you think about it makes sense, right? But most airlines actually board from the front backwards. Reason? The people who sit in the front of the plane paid more for their tickets. And so they're boarding based on the amount of money you spend, which also tells you your class. And I say class because it's 2023, but your class still matters. Class in the sense of how much you paid for your ticket. So if you're rich and you paid more for your ticket, you're gonna board first. If you don't have any money and you bought a cheap ticket, you're gonna board last. That is what it boils down to. So what they've done zones one. Some airlines have 4 zones, 5 zones, 4 zones. They call them all kinds of different things. So what we're going to do, since his question relates to Delta, and I'll get his exact question. And his exact question says, when boarding with Delta, at least, there are times I'm boarding as main 2 and other times main 3. What's up with that? How do I guarantee main 1 or 1.5 without buying a first class ticket? And so what the next question I asked him, I said, do you have any status with Delta? And he doesn't. So because he doesn't have any status with Delta, he's going to be, a little further down the list. So I'm going to share my screen, but let's take a look at Delta, and we can see what their boarding status or their boarding priorities are, and so you can get an idea. So let me change my screen here. Share screen, share my desktop. Hey, voila, we're here. Okay. So this came straight from the Delta website. I just searched for boarding priority and I found that. And they have boarding zones. And like I said, there's very similar with other airlines. So similar in the sense that there is an order that you board, because even Southwest has a boarding order, and Southwest is a low fare carrier, and they even charge you to board first, right? So everybody does it. It's a thing. So this is what Delta does. Pre-boarding, customers needing assistance or additional time to board. Every airline does this, every. And so these are the people who gets on the airline first. Then it's an American thing to do active duty U.S. military with an ID. So typically, some airlines even go as far as say active military, U.S. military on duty. So if you're just U.S. military, but you're not going to work, don't even bother. Now, airlines do give US military discounts, so they have special fares that they use. And so most of the US military, well, they all travel with an ID, right? And so they use that ID to go in. So Delta sends them second. That's a second category. Now, the pre-boarding category is like if you have, let me check in here to make sure. If you have small children, because some airlines will specifically say customer needing traveling with small children. And so what you'll find out is typically the first people to board are the people in the wheelchairs, people with a cane. If you've a broken arm, broken leg, or something, you need a little extra time to go down the jetway is a term that they use. And so the reason why this is good is that all these people get out of the way and they go in. So then they're not blocking the way and they're not impeding others from getting on the airplane. And it actually works out really well for everyone involved. And so the next one is Delta One or first class. So Delta One is the name of the Delta business class. This is the most expensive ticket you can buy in any Delta airplane, or first class. First class because in domestic U.S. and in some Caribbean cities, they don't have business class. They only have first class. And so you have first class and economy. Now, when you get your ticket, it is going to show you what zone you're in. Everyone said it'll either say it'll have these names on there, or if you're Sky Priority, which is the Delta frequent flyer, the Delta frequent flyers program is called Sky Miles, and then you have Sky Priority. Now, the Sky Priority is determined by how much you paid for your ticket, and also, excuse me, I just sneezed there. And also, the boarding, if you're Sky Priority, the Sky Priority will be determined by your elite status. So whether you gold, diamond, or anything like that. Now, Delta also has another category called Delta 360. And the Delta 360 is normally after active US military with ID. It's not listed here, but that's what they usually do. And oh boy, sorry. And so that's what it usually shows there. Now you have Delta One, which is the first class we spoke about, and then you have the Delta Diamond members. Then they have something called Delta Premium Select. And I'm not sure who the Delta Premium Select customers are, but this is the next one. Now, further down is where they say early access for customer traveling with car seats and strollers. So they don't put customers needing assistance or additional time to board, pre-boarding. So what they're saying is, we're not pre-boarding parents with kids with small children. But if you have a stroller, we're going to board you after Premium Select. Now, the interesting thing is, and I'm going to pause for a sec because I want to go find out exactly what they actually we could do it. Let's see what exactly is Delta Premium Select. Delta Premium Select. Okay, Delta Premium Select. Okay, so Delta Premium Select is the nearest cabin designed to help you arrive in some of the most exciting places, relaxed and ready to explore. Looking forward to reimagine elevated during. Okay, so this is what they call premium economy. I didn't realize that was the name that they were using. So Delta Premium Select is premium economy. So if we go back here, so they go behind medallion members. Okay, that makes sense. So they'll do premium select on the wide-bodied aircraft. It's not something they have on the domestic aircraft. I haven't flown Delta in a while. I wasn't familiar with the name that they use for their premium economy. Okay, so after premium economy, then they do early access for customers traveling with car seats and strollers. Then they do Delta Comfort Plus. Delta Comfort Plus is extra leg room. Like American has main cabin extra, United has economy plus, and Delta has Delta Comfort plus. Then after Delta Comfort plus, then they do Sky Priority. So Sky Priority is where all the frequent flyers who are, I guess, the elite status members who are not sitting in all the other categories that we just said are now welcome to board. This is Platinum, Gold. Flying Blue is the Air France and Air France KLM program. So Flying Blue, Platinum, and Gold members. Virgin Atlantic Flying Club Gold. Now, if you noticed, Virgin Atlantic is their premium partner, so that's why it's included in here. So is Air France and KLM. Then they have SkyTeam Elite Plus members. SkyTeam Elite Plus members are members of the SkyTeam Alliance, of which Delta is a member, who are at a certain level. And at that certain level, in those local programs, that you could be SkyTeam, you could be Gold in one of the programs, and then because you're Gold, you become Elite Plus at the SkyTeam at the Alliance level. So this is where you'd board. Now, they also brought in Latam Pass, Black Signature, Black and Platinum Elite. And then you have WestJet Rewards, Platinum and Gold Elite. So this is a thing that they did with WestJet, where they allow Delta. So this is probably reciprocal if you fly on WestJet. If you have a Delta priority status, you'll probably get boarded in the Sky Priority. And now what they'll do is at the airport, you'll see, and it's red, it'll say Sky Priority. So if it says Sky Priority and you have any of these categories, you can board. It also means that you can check in at the Sky Priority desk if you have any of these qualifications. Okay, there's more. Main Cabin 1. So finally, after all those categories, I can go back to the original question and see. So he said, there are times I'm boarding as main cabin 2 and other times main cabin 3. What's up with that? How do I guarantee main cabin 1 or 1.5? So if you want to fly main cabin 1, you got to be silver. That's the first category. He doesn't have any status at the moment, but the first status he'd qualify for is silver, medallion silver with Delta. Or if you're a Delta corporate traveler, they probably have something specific in your record. Delta medallion gold, platinum, reserve, and American Express card members will be able to fly main cabin 1. So let's just back up a little bit, because there was priority up here, and gold medallion members can board as Sky Priority. But then it says Delta, Sky Miles, Gold, Platinum, and Reserve, American Express card members. So does this mean, this is a little confusing, because up here it said Delta Gold Medallion members and Platinum members are Sky Priority class. But then they also have main cabin 1. So are they in 2 classes? Because this is Delta, Sky Miles, Gold. Gold medallion members, yeah. So it's a little confusing there. Maybe they need to fix that. So platinum and American Express card members, Flying Blue silver members, Virgin Atlantic Club silver members, SkyTeam Elite members, and so there's SkyTeam Elite and SkyTeam Elite Plus, which is the 2 levels of the SkyTeam Alliance Elite program. And then there's SkyMiles Select members, Latam Pass, Gold Elite, and WestJet Rewards Silver Elite. So if since he's already in the Delta program, since you're already in the Delta program and Sky Silver is going to be your next category, if you want to not board in main cabin 2 or 3, you need to get to the silver status. That's your first bastion of hope. So then there are other categories are main cabin 2. So it's kind of funny, they just say main cabin 2 customers. There's like no definition for main cabin 2, just means you bought a cheap ticket. And so the other one says main cabin 3 customers booked in T, X, and V fares. Now I talked about the different fares on a previous episode of Travel Talk, But TV and X fares are really, really cheap fares. But basic economy is the cheapest fare they have, and those are booked in E-class. So if you want to get out of main cabin 2 and main cabin 3, it means you have to stop buying T, X, and V fares, which means really, really cheap fares. And main cabin 2 doesn't even tell me what the definition. This says main cabin customers. I don't even know what that means. I'm guessing it's customers who bought economy class tickets that were not T, X, or V. So maybe they're like Y, H, or something like that. And these people are not elite members. So typically, if you're not an elite member and you bought a little more pricey ticket than your main cabin 2, and so I think that answers your question. So if you want to get out of main cabin 2 up to main cabin 1, then you need to be silver at least, and then you have all the different categories. So when you're boarding, they put like a little thing, and it tells you, it flashes main cabin 2, priority, Delta comfort, and all that stuff gets flashed on the screens. So typically Delta has pre-boarding, Delta 1 with first class, Diamond Medallion members, Delta Premium Select. So how many we got so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 different categories that they have. Okay. So it says Silver Medallion members will not have a dedicated priority boarding zone on Delta flights departing Amsterdam and Paris due to Air France KLM boarding policies. So that's who take effect there. So now let's go look at, for comparison, let's go look at American Airlines. So when I fly most of the time, American Airlines boarding priority. Okay, let's see. Boarding process. Here we go. Now, right now, because I am the tiny, so I'll make it bigger for you so you can see. Plus. Okay. Right now, I board as group 3. So here's what they have. Concierge Key members. Concierge Key is equivalent to the Delta 360, which they didn't mention on the Delta website. I think they need to update that page. But Concierge Key members are like the monkey mucks that with American Airlines. They spend a ton of money when they fly with them. Then they have Group 1, and Group 1 is first class, active duty, U.S. military with military ID, Advantage Executive Platinum, and which is business class on a 2-class international plane. So American has, some of their planes have first class and business class. Some of the airplanes just have for business class, no first class. Some airlines, some of the planes will have premium economy. I think probably they all do have premium economy now. And so, but if you're in premium economy, I don't know what group they have because it doesn't say what group. You're probably going to be group 2 or 3 if you're in premium economy. And so here it says group 2, Advantage Platinum Pro, One World Emerald. Again, with American, One World Emerald is the Star Alliance elite level that's equivalent to whatever status you have. So I am Advantage Platinum, and with Advantage Platinum, I am One World Sapphire. If I had Platinum Pro, then I'd be One World Emerald. And so that's kind of how they work. So group 2 is Advantage Platinum Pro, One World Emerald, and business class on a 3-class plane. It's so confusing. So if you're on a 2-class plane, i.e. business and economy, you're group 1. But if you're in a 3-class plane with your group 2, that means you're business, premium economy, and you're going to have economy. Okay. Group 3, Advantage Platinum, One World Sapphire. And I explained what the One World Sapphire bit is. And group 4, Advantage Gold, Ruby, Air Pass, a One World Ruby. So the 3 different status class in One World is Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. So if you're gold, you're ruby. Basically, when you're gold, you get nothing. I mean, except boarding in group 4. Now, this is actually really important because the higher group you board in, the more room you have for your bags, right? And so it's always good if you're the person who has that big carry-on, then you want to board early. So if you want to board early, you pay a little more, you be a little more loyal to the airline. Some people are at group 9, and we'll talk about group 9 in a sec, and they want to board first. If you're group 9, you really need to sit and wait because you're going to be the last group to board if you're flying an American. So then we have group 4, and group 4 is Advantage Gold, One World Ruby, Air Pass, Premium Economy. Oh, finally we see Premium Economy. You're in group 4. Citibank Advantage Executive Card Member, because American Airlines has a thing with Citibank. So Delta is with American Express, Chase is with United Airlines, and American Airlines is with Citibank. And so it says travelers who bought priority boarding. American Airlines have a little upsell, and you can actually buy priority boarding. So if you bought a cheap ticket, you can pay your way to boarding first. And of course, they have special corporate customers who are eligible, boarding group 4. Group 5 is the next one, preferred boarding. So if you're sitting in main cabin extra, i.e. an American, they don't have that many rows with main cabin extra, but those are the extra legroom rows, then you get to board in group 5. But if you bought a basic economy ticket, no, not going to happen. So Advantage member who've earned 15,000 loyalty points. Loyalty points is what it takes to get status in American. 15,000, I think the first level is 40,000. And so what they're trying to reward you, say, hey, you're getting closer. Now you're in group 5. And then depending on what credit cards they have, but they have a lot of credit cards, you can also board in group 5 if you have one of those credit cards. Group 6 is Advantage members, which is any Advantage member who does not have a status. So which means that you're just like a member. You don't have any gold, which is the first level, and gold or above, then you get to board in group 6. Then you have group 7 to 8, which is everybody else who sits in main cabin except basic economy people. If you have basic economy ticket, you're going to board last. Now, here's the thing. You could buy a basic economy ticket, but if you are an elite member, your elite status overrides the boarding priority of the basic economy. So instead of boarding in group 9, you could board in group 2, 3, 4, or even probably even group 1, because you are an executive platinum, or you're platinum pro, or you're platinum, or you're gold. So that overrides that, right? Or the card that you use to buy the ticket will override that. And they have all the rules here. So now let's go check one more, because that's the big 3. Let's go check United. United Airlines boarding priority boarding groups. Okay, there we go. And that's not the one we want. Well, United, want to go straight to the source. Boarding process on United Airlines. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, so here we go on United. Boarding groups. They have pre-boarding, right? Customers with disability, unaccompanied minors, anyone flying with children 2 or younger, active military members, global services, and Premier 1K members. Now, United has another, well, I guess global services. That's like the 360 or the concierge key for American. And these are customers who have special areas when they get to the airport to check in because they've spent a lot of money with United. So that's their pre-boarding. Then they have group 1, which is your Premier Platinum and Gold members, Star Alliance Gold members, travelers in United Polaris, that's their business class, or United First, that's their domestic first class, or United Business. United Business is what they call their service that goes to the Caribbean. And then you have group 2, which is Premier Elite, Premier Silver, Star Alliance Silver, And the Star Alliance categories are based on their lines. At the airline alliance level, you have, so if you're Premier Gold with United, you become Star Alliance Gold. Or if you're Premier Platinum with United, you're also Star Alliance Gold. There's only two status, Silver and Gold. And if you're Premier Silver, then you're Star Alliance Silver. If you're traveling with Premier Access is something that you can actually buy it, and it'll give you Premier Access is what you normally get when you're flying in the upper echelons, or you're a gold or platinum member, but you can actually buy it. And if you buy the package, then you can travel in Group 2. Otherwise, if you have a United Plus Presidential Plus card. So if you bought your ticket with a Presidential Plus card, which is a credit card that United has, or the United Explorer card, then you can go to Group 2. At the airport, they have like Group 2 is green and Group 1 is blue. And they have little arrows, and people line up, and that's how you board. Group 3 to 5 travels in Economy Plus, United Economy, and Basic Economy. So basically everybody else at the end, right? So it goes Group 3, Group 4, and then Group 5 is typically how it does it. It's a little confusing, but when you're at the airport, you get an idea. Let's just look at Southwest real quick. Southwest Airlines boarding priority boarding groups. Okay, so with Southwest, boarding the plane, they do it slightly differently, but the idea is the same. Let me scroll down. How does the Southwest boarding priority works? You will be assigned a boarding group A, B, or C, and positions 1 to 60 plus upon check-in. Your unique group and position combination, for example, A35, will be displayed on your boarding pass and represents a reserved spot in the boarding group in the gate. So when you go, you're going to see A, B, C. The interesting thing with Southwest is everybody goes up by number. So when you get your number, you're like, if I have number 10, you're like, okay, I need to be behind number 9 and before number 11. And so people are asking you, what number do you have? What number do you have? What number do you have? So you end up boarding in the right order. It's kind of interesting, but weird. And so the numbers post in each of our gate areas indicate where to line up. When your boarding group is called, find your designated place in line and board the aircraft. So this is actually based on how you check in, or if you paid, because you can pay, there's something called A-listers. And so you can pay to be in the A list. Otherwise, you're going to be way back. I think the last time I bought a Southwest ticket, I didn't bother paying anything. And when I checked in, I was in C, and I was like C28 or something. So I was pretty far back there because I just randomly checked in. I didn't pay any extra for that. So as you can see, the airlines have different, let me stop sharing my screen for a bit. As you can see, the airlines do have different ways how they board airplanes. And it's a really great question. And I'm sure you've been, because even Spirit has a boarding process as well. They all do. So does Ryanair. But it's interesting to see the different boarding processes when you go to different places. And yes, you can pay to jump ahead of other people if that's what you need. And normally they will give you a boarding, if you get a higher boarding process, it's because you bought a check bag or something like that they do. So it's very different. Pay attention to the emails that the airline sends you, and it will tell you what your boarding process is and how it changes. When you check in, your boarding pass will clearly tell you what group you're boarding in. If it's your turn to board. If it's not your turn to board, please sit down and just wait. Do not clog the board area. If you have Group 9 and you're boarding an American, you're going to be the last to board the flight, okay? So just bear that in mind. And this is a great question. Thank you so much for sending this in, and I hope I am able to answer that. And I think that's all it was that he wanted. All right, this is Kerwin with Travel Talk. Have a great trip, and we'll talk soon.